Hello everyone, welcome to the Vault. My name is Vance Garcia and today we're joined by NSS-CFF scholars.
Hi, I'm Natalia Avendano, a senior at St. Joseph Academy, and I'm planning on majoring in mechanical engineering at Notre Dame.
Hello, my name is Samir Martignon. I am a junior at Idea Frontier College Prep, and I hope to attend Brown University.
Hey, my name is Rene Candelaria, and I'm also a junior at Idea Frontier College Prep. And my dream school is MIT, and I would really like to do aerospace engineering.
So, what EXF programs have you guys participated in so far, besides, being a scholar? We'll start with Natalia.
Well, this past summer, I was first introduced to CFF, or this whole environment, through CISA by my physics teacher, Mr. Miller. He had first invited me to come participate in the summer program. And then I've been doing in a few related events, such as the tournament for Space M1 Designing that you guys have partnered with, and then finally the CFF Scholars.
Well, apart from the CFF Scholars, I also did the CSF Scholars Internship last year, and I've been in CISA 3 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, same here. I've been in CISA for the past 3 summers, and I also did the CFF NSS Scholars last year, so this is my second year doing it.
So you guys, I know Natalia mentioned you found out about it because of your physics teacher, Mr. Andy Miller. So how did you guys find out about our programs, CISA, the Scholars, whichever one?
Okay, well, one day after I took a physics exam, Mr. Miller came up to me and told me about CISA, where you would spend roughly 3 weeks exploring space and math and just different aspects of the science and engineering atmosphere. And I was really interested at the time, even though I didn't really know too much, but I signed up anyway. And in July, we'd participate in the 3-week program.
So the way that I found out about CISA, it was through the current area coordinator, Ms. Mayra Delgado. She was my 7th grade biology teacher and coach for UIL Science. So nearing the 8th grade end of the school year, she told me about CISA and how she found about this program, and she introduced me to Mr. Miller, and well, I applied for it, and I've been here ever since.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, actually, same here, because we go to the same school, right? And we were actually in the same classes back then in middle school. So Miss Mayra Delgado also introduced me to CISA, and near the end of 8th grade, she presented me with a flyer, and that's like, oh, you should apply, it would be fun, and I applied.
So I guess we all kind of have in common, like, our teachers kind of introduced us. I kind of have the same story. Mr. Miller just came up to me. I was like, I think you would like this, actually.
Spill it out right now.
Yeah. So you guys have participated in various programs, NSS, CFF, CISA. Some of you guys have gone to our events like the Binational, and some of the speaker events we've had here too for the National Space Society. So how have these programs and events benefited you so far?
Well, honestly, CISA really impacted my desire to focus on engineering. As before, I thought I wanted to go into medicine, or well, I thought because my family wanted me to do medicine that I would just follow along, but I never felt the passion for it as I did participating in my physics class, and then here at CISA, being able to talk to many different engineers and many people within the scientific community, and just being able to engage in these projects really opened up my mind to what my future can be, not to what I just thought I had to do. So it really did set the path straight for me to follow along on what I truly wanted to do.
Well, like Natalia, CISA really opened up my perspective. I didn't really have an idea what I wanted to do for my future career, and I've always been kind of running away from medicine because my family did it, so like it would be
Same thing.
contradicting it. While she wanted to pursue medicine, or well, she
Kind of did.
she was expected to pursue medicine. I wasn't, but I ended up like discovering my passion for medicine and engineering, as well as entrepreneurship. Here at CISA, I was able to be exposed to all those different kinds of things and all the experiences from the speakers that we've had. So that really helped me out a lot in kind of broadening my perspective of what I wanted to do with my career. And as for the speaking events, like the venture cafes,
Yeah.
I noticed that you can be an entrepreneur for a lot of things, and that there's a lot of things that a community, especially like Bronzeville, really needs.
Yeah, and for me, these events like CISA especially has really helped me open up and talk to a lot more people because even though I'm still working on talking to more people, being more out there, I used to be kind of like way more shy than I am now. And I feel like going there has definitely helped me out with making friends, making connections, and yeah.
Okay, so you guys were talking about like how you were able to find your passions, get different skills. I think we could definitely, as EXF, our programs can definitely help you find your career if you're unsure, or if you're undecisive whether it should be an entrepreneur, or maybe I want to do in the space industry. Maybe you can do both. We can help you find those opportunities to find your passion and your future career. So, given the next question I have for you guys is, given our background, in your opinion, has EXF changed your opportunity prospects, or the idea, or your idea about this region that we live in currently?
I think it definitely did change our opportunities and just my overall thought of the valley. Because from a young age, a lot of us are told you should try to escape the valley. I remember my parents always wanting me to go out and explore more and not just be stuck here, how sometimes they felt. So I never really considered staying in Brownsville to focus on this new engineering community because it's kind of so new. I heard about it from my childhood, but I never expected it to be here by the time I become an adult. And so really, at one point in my life, I would really like to connect more with the different engineering programs and the aerospace programs down in the valley. And I just never realized how many people down here were so experienced and had so much knowledge about the future of aerospace and all their different opinions on it. So when I attended the binational conference and got to hear people's point of views from Mexico and America, it just really opened my eyes to what the future of the valley could be, and just the different opportunities that EXF has offered me is just astounding. Like, I've met so many different people who are just so willing to help set me right on my path and get connections and just introduce me to this world to make sure I start well and I'm able to branch off more effectively. Is just something I would have never even thought of before. Even back when I thought I had to pursue medicine, I never felt this connected to anyone or any community before.
Yeah.
I couldn't have phrased it better, honestly. Ever since I found out about EXF, and they have been growing very rapidly, and so has the technology around here in the valley. Natalia, I used to think that I would have to leave, that I shouldn't be stuck here because here it's kind of like very like generational jobs, and so I figured, what am I gonna do here? What could I possibly do? How can we integrate technology? But it's happening to the point where I'm kind of torn because when I have my culture here, and now it's growing, and also parting to experience a different world, like for example New York or Oregon, like going somewhere else. But I do see the growth in the community here, and I think it's something very amazing to see because now it gives us more opportunity to stay here if we like.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I share that same struggle, torn between staying here or leaving to like Notre Dame in Indiana. Just the feelings you feel compared to this and outside institutions is just like tearing you apart in a way, because we are advancing so much. I'm sure if I go outside and learn new point of views, I could bring it back, but there's just so much potential for the valley to grow, to make her really have a name for ourselves as the next Spaceville.
Yeah, and I used to not appreciate the beauty that Bronzeville held by being in between and being in the border. You don't appreciate it, but now that it's growing, now you see it.
Yeah.
It's surreal, honestly.
Yeah, and for me personally, EXF has altered the way I view Bronxville and the way I view this area because it used to be, well, I'll go somewhere else to get my degree, and then maybe I'll come back to Houston and be in the NASA Space Center over there because I wanted to work for NASA. Like, that's like, oh, that would be so cool to have, yeah, right? And like, maybe I could work there at the Space Center, but like, so I could be kind of close to my family. But then again, it's like 6 hours from here to Houston, so it's not that close. So when I came to EXF, it made me realize like, wow, we really are like growing in the space industry in Brownsville. It's like becoming a bigger and bigger part of it every time. So it's made me think like, well, maybe instead of going back to Houston, I could just come back to Brownsville and work here. And like it gives you the benefits of like almost all of my family is in this area, so I wouldn't feel so disconnected from them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. I was definitely thinking of like leaving here after high school. I was like, I'm getting out of here. And then I was like, oh, I don't really have money to get out of here. So I was like, I guess I'll look for a job. And I found Expanding Frontiers after like CISA. And it definitely changed my perspective, especially since I've been working here. I get to see like really how much it's growing every single day. So I'm really glad I stayed. I'm really glad you guys have gained a different perspective from just participating in our programs, going to our events, getting to know people in the community here that are helping um, the industry grow. Like every day, it's crazy. Yeah. Um, so speaking of the industry, have you guys ever like before EXF, like way before, maybe when you're elementary and middle school, did you ever want to be like part of the space or technology industry? Did you ever want to invent something? Ever want to like be an astronaut or something? Do you guys have any like stories like that?
Well, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with space to the point where I'd watch the space documentary every single night before bed, and I just dreamed of like being those people. It's called From the Earth to the Moon, where they'd reenact the space race, basically.
Oh,
I just was obsessed with it, and I loved it, and I would watch those documentaries every single night with Neil deGrasse Tyson and just all these different people and their perspectives. And while I did really love space, I felt like kind of torn because, oh, this is so amazing, so beautiful. I'd love to go to Mars one day. I'd love to be part of the team to work on it, send the rovers up, all that. But then with the time with medicine, I never really let myself, adventure into it until I was around like 15, 16, where I started doing more research on it and just general watching more interviews with different engineers and different astronauts and all that stuff. But really, it was just recently that I finally started doing more serious research. But the love was there when I was a kid. It's just now it can become a reality.
Yeah, likewise. When I was younger, I used to be obsessed with Jupiter because it had 63 moons.
Oh my
I would know the most random facts about planets back then. And I never really saw it as something that I could do because it wasn't what I was taught that I could do. That's kind of the culture that I grew up with, or kind of the environment where it's like, oh, you're gonna stay here, right? Like you have to leave if you want to be somebody or be something. And it wasn't until the movie Big Hero 6 came out that I started to explore more towards space, but also towards engineering, because that really fueled my love for mechatronics. And that's what gave me like more towards the passion to work towards the things that I want. And I would love to be an inventor, but people are always coming up with different things. I'm like, oh, what can I make?
Well, yeah, for me, I definitely loved space before going to CISA. Like, as a kid, I'd go to the libraries and I always check out the nonfiction books about space. Like, I'd take them home and I'd read them. Like, I just loved it. And then after that, when I got like my first iPad and my first phone, my YouTube feed would always be flooded with space videos. Like, oh, what's the biggest black hole? What's the biggest planet? What's the biggest star? And eventually, that led into loving physics and loving math. And I found that like, whoa, that's my passion. That's what I want to do when I grow up. So that like before CISA, I definitely already knew that I wanted to do something with space, but this just like solidified it more. That's like, oh yeah, this is definitely what I want. Because based on what they teach us, based on what I've seen, I really liked it.
That's good. I'm glad for you guys. So now I know you guys mentioned, you want to be an engineer, mechatronics engineer, and such. But more specifically, like, do you guys feel more prepared for the career you want to pursue in the future? Like, go ahead, like, give me kind of like a more detailed, like specifically, oh, this engineer, I hope to do specifically this in my career.
Well, now I have a more realistic view on everything that they do. Not everything, because there's so many different disciplines, but I just the widespread, like for mechanical engineering, how widespread they are and how they're involved with so many different projects that you would even consider. But also aerospace engineering, which I would like to master and get my master's in one day. Just specifically working with what I'm most interested in would be the Mars missions and getting a settlement on Mars, just like a research base. I'd love to work on the rovers. I'd love to find a way to have a portable life support system. That's what I'm really interested in. How are we going to support humans on Mars? How are we going to prepare them long term? How are we going to get them their food? How are they going to breathe? How are they going to get their water? Like, that's what I'm interested in long term. So I've been doing research and talking to different people within these different like research groups and these engineers who are trying to figure out those questions that they just don't know yet. And that's what I'm really interested in. And I think we can find that out relatively soon compared to like the long grand scheme of things. And I do hope to one day be part of that journey or that team that finally figures out the answer. How are we going to get humans on the Mars and how onto Mars, and how are we going to sustain their life there?
Yeah, that's really neat. Wow. Okay.
Can you repeat the question? I was listening so attentively. I was
No,
like, whoa.
yeah, I understand. Do you feel more prepared for your career in the future? If so, like specifically, what type? What do you want to achieve?
I would say so, because I had the NSS-CFF Scholars Internship. I was doing rapid prototyping, so that falls within the engineering category. But I'm torn between biomedical engineering, being a general surgeon, or doing mechatronics. So I do feel somewhat prepared for them due to the experiences that I've held before, especially towards engineering, because I would talk to one of the mentors, Aram, and he would always kind of like let me see what projects he's working on or how he does it, with the materials used. So I would like to create at least like if I were to go into mechatronics, create a robot that could help out nurses or help within the resources that the hospitals have, like materials, because I know that causes a lot of stress knowing where the materials are and having to get it in like, right away. So I would like to invent something along those lines. I didn't do it as elaborate research as Natalia, though I probably should, but that's kind of like the idea in which I would like to go down.
Very cool. Very cool.
That's cool. Yeah, so for me, I think like specifically, I'd really like to do aerospace engineering. That's like so cool. I've always adored it. And I feel prepared. Well, I feel kind of prepared really because this doesn't have to do with EXF, right? It has to do with more with my school. Because I think usually people take calculus in like around 11th or 12th grade, right? But we don't take calculus. We've only taken geometry and algebra. So it's like when I need more, I want more of the foundational maths so I could feel more prepared for the content that my major is going to explore. But honestly, yeah, and something that I really want to do with aerospace engineering was like I want to help establish a station in the moon because there's this like idea that the moon can be used as like instead of having to go all the way back to Earth and then having to take off again and then the atmosphere is in the way and that all that's there, you can instead just go to the moon, free fuel there, get everything there, and then just take off because it'd be way easier because it also has the lower escape velocity. And that's like one of the like things I want to help out to do, and I think it's something that would really help out like humans in space.
Well, you guys, I just realized I have not asked you what you actually do in your NSS-CFF Scholars. That reminded me because Rene mentioned the moon and his project has to do with the moon as well. So let's start with Rene.
Yes, so I am doing the lunar reconnaissance part of the NSS-CFF, and pretty much what we do is that we take images from the lunar reconnaissance orbiter, which is a satellite that orbits the moon and takes photos of its surface, and we analyze them to look for something called lunar pits. Lunar pits are like basically, to put it like simply, right? It's like where lava tubes used to flow, they dried up and it sunk, the ceiling caved in, leaving like a pit. And around it could still flow some magma. Sorry, magma, because lava, yeah. But around it still flows magma, so the temperature is actually higher than if you were to be like just on the lunar surface. So it could actually be somewhere comfortable for humans because we could build bases there and we wouldn't need to worry about the temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it.
That's cool. So this year I'm doing 2 internships in a row. I'm doing rapid prototyping like I did last year, except at a more advanced level using the KAD software Fusion 360 to make 3D models. And then I'm also doing hydroponics. So we're growing plants using purely water, and we're doing experimentation lately. I know that here in the vault we have some plants growing in complete darkness in the vault. We have some plants over there growing with a grow light and
Yeah.
at specific intensity and at the purple color, since that's what they absorb best. And then we have some in the office at the very front by the window so that they can get direct sunlight. And we're comparing all the results from each and every one of them, their growth rates, the death rates, and yeah, and seeing how more susceptible they are to getting sick or to dying or even spider mite infestation, which is what we're currently struggling with.
I heard.
Well, Renee and I are actually part of the same program. I'm also lunar reconnaissance. Right now, what we're trying to do is find different pits by looking at the different angles of the shadows within these different crevices. So what it's really like for me, what I'm learning right now is like having a keener eye when analyzing these different photographs, because they're not all taken at the same level of brightness and clarity. So some are really blurry, some are really dark, some are really extremely bright, and some have these bits that are like kind of blurry and the angle's kind of there, but you can't really tell if it's a pit or not. So it's really just trying to learn and get more adjusted to analyzing the different angles of the light and the reflections, and trying to differentiate between like a mound versus an actual pit, because if you have some shadows going a certain angle, then one go in a different angle. It just kind of just training myself, or all of us, to have a keener eye when spotting these different pits.
Yeah.
Oh, can I add to what she said? So like definitely about the keener eye, because there's some images where I just look at it and it's like I can't tell if this is like going down or protruding. It's
Exactly.
like so confusing sometimes. So it takes like a lot of concentration.
By participating in these programs, from what personally I've experienced and all of your experiences, I think you can definitely learn and improve your soft and hard skills. Definitely improving like speaking to people, basically public speaking, presenting, data analyzation. Really, just honestly build your skills for your future career is really what we want to do here at Expanding Frontiers. So going back to the programs, who would you recommend it to? Would you recommend it to anyone, or would you recommend it only to, space nerds or tech nerds?
I do think with certain programs there is a certain type of person who would really benefit from becoming a scholar. But with CISA, I really do think any type of person can participate in it, because we're not just focusing on one aspect or one discipline. We're hearing from speakers, we're learning to think for ourselves, really, to really analyze and theorize, which I really appreciated during that time. Because with traditional schooling, I didn't grow up in traditional schooling. I grew up with Montessori until I was around 12. And so entering the traditional school mindset was really a huge struggle for me. From going hands-on research and be able to do what I want at my own pace and even excel ahead of my peers, it's just, and switching from that to such a concrete, structured learning algorithm, I suppose, is just really not meant for me personally. And so I think if you are a type of learner that appreciates hands-on or appreciates interactive materials, that going to this program is really beneficial, because I found I learned more during those 3 weeks than probably I could in one class in a semester from just listening to a teacher drone on and on about a topic that I may be interested in if I could get in there, understand it, understand the basics behind it, understand the why. In math class, I'd often get kind of bored during calculus, because why is it this way? Who came up with it? Yeah. Why did they come up with it? Who came up with this? Why does it work this way? Why do I have to find out later how to apply it to real world situations? And so with CISA, or in all programs, I think you have to be the type of person that enjoys learning and just wants to go the extra mile to really appreciate what's given to you. Because if you were in such a structured learning mindset your whole life and you've never been able to branch out, I really do think this is a great opportunity to really show you that there are different things out there, but you just might feel limited now. But as soon as you get in there, get hands-on, listen to different speakers, but also be able to theorize and imagine it yourself, actually just being thrown in there cold turkey in some projects, how you would make a base on Venus. How often do you really think about that? You have to think of so many different aspects that, I do think the type of person that really would benefit from this is anyone who has the desire to learn and be better.
She takes the words right out of my mouth. She has perfect responses.
Thank you.
But yeah, I have to agree. If you love hands-on learning and you have a curiosity for learning and you want to learn more, the CISA is perfect for that. Because I agree, I learned a lot in those 3 weeks than I did in school. I'm sitting there, I'm in math class, I'm bored, I'm so sorry. I'm on board, I'm like, okay, when is my next class, at what time? It's very routine like. And then here at CISA, you see something new, not just every day, but every year. From all the 3 years I've been here, it's always new. And the more I interact with the mentors, I see that they're also very experienced in a variety of topics. So that's really cool to see, because in CISA, I would recommend it to anyone who's just undecided or who already has a passion in it to join, because it broadens your perspective and it allows you to think of more ideas. It makes you more creative. You're able to communicate with people better. It kind of forces you to come out of your shell in a way, and you get to make connections with pretty important people like Dr. Janae, Ms. Mayra Delgado, even Chef Katie. Like, she makes the most delicious food. But she's also an entrepreneur, so it's amazing. You can see that you're not limited. So I would definitely recommend CISA to any high school student, even the incoming freshmen, the 8th graders. They would love it.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Because you not only learn something every day or something new every day, it's something every hour, I feel. During CISA, it was a different schedule every single day. And it was kind of a surprise. So you would go in there. Honestly, they'd be like, we're doing this now. Time to go outside and measure how big the Earth is compared to the moon.
Oh, yeah, that was like the first day.
Like, what's happening?
Yeah. That was like the first day when they took us outside, and then we started planting, like doing hydroponics. I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this.
Guess we're doing this now.
But yeah, I also love that you get to interact with different kinds of people. Some of them are from your own school, some of them are from different schools. And it ranges from like all high school students. So it's very good to see perspective from both younger and older students.
Definitely. And I think I'd also recommend this program to, like, these programs that EXF offers to anybody like that's willing to be in them. And also because I think that if you're not sure about what you want to do in the future, CISA is like such a good opportunity to learn more about space. Like, well, maybe you're doubting getting into STEM. Maybe you're like, I'll probably do it. But like, going to CISA can really cement whether you want to or not. And it's just such a good opportunity because you learn about different things. Like they said, like different things every day, and it really throws you out there. It's not like, oh, you only learn about astronomy. No, you also get put like, oh, physics, Newton's laws. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It shows a lot of what you could do, and it could really give you great opportunities. Also because of the networking and the fact you get to talk with so many different people. I think that's really good.
So I know you guys are mentioning CISA a lot. So my next question is, what program is your favorite?
CISA.
Yes,
CISA.
CISA.
I definitely agree.
It was the first one I did. So 3-week intense course about just space. Constantly from the moment you basically wake up until late in the afternoon. Yeah. It's just full school day worth of content that you constantly enjoy, and that you're willing to, meet with other people who also enjoy the subject. It feels like school, but it's just the ideal school. What every kid imagines high school is like based off movies.
Yeah. So I know you guys have been really impacted by expanding frontiers and bio programs, myself included. But how do you think the community, kind of outside of expanding frontiers, the rest of the industry, has been affected? And what do you want to see in the future? What do you want to see EXF do in the future?
Well, I do think that EXF, by focusing on the small, younger part of the community, really does affect the whole community. Because us new, younger generations will be impacting Lower Brownsville or the whole Lower Valley for the next 50 years to come. We are the future as of right now. And by opening the doors to us and laying down the path for us to get across, it really does help benefits the whole community by helping us with our ideas and our goals to actually further progress within our small town. Because for a lot of years, many people think Brownsville as stunted or not available to grow, but EXF is perfect in the way that it does recognize our ability to expand beyond what our foundations are, by able to impact the younger generation of people, us high schoolers or maybe even younger, giving us the ideas and helping us actually understand that we don't need to just stay stuck in our past right now. We can impact not only us, but the actual whole aerospace community together, because we all just are after one goal, and it's improving humanity's our intellect and our knowledge as a whole community. And so one thing I do want EXF to focus on more would be helping even younger people, because right now they mainly focus on high school or maybe late middle school.
Yeah.
I do think starting even earlier to set the notion that these young people are our future, because we are the community. Even us right now, we represent different aspects of the community by our different schools or different backgrounds. I really do think being able to bring all these people together to understand that our human goal is to progress as a society to be the best we could possibly be is truly our one overall goal in the end. That's what we should be striving towards. How can we be better than previous generations? How can we explore technology that can help future people who don't even exist yet? Because what we need to focus on right now is not just people from the past or people of the now, it's people of the future. And that's how we really impact our community, which EXF has been doing wonderfully.
I have to agree. So I love how you said that we are the community, because I think that's 100% true. For example, we inherit the society that our parents and the people before them created. So if we can build a stronger foundation for the future generation, and again learning more knowledge and advancing in technology, which I think is really great. And I also see that EXF has made that impact on us as high school students, and going to younger generations could 100% change how kind of we grew up with, like, oh, space wasn't like really integrated into our career paths. But if we were to show it to little kids, it opens their horizons already, and they can start thinking for themselves. They can start seeing more career options, and if they're interested in space, that's great. You can build on from there, and you can introduce them to more things. Another thing that I see that EXF impacts is also the older community. For example, the venture cafes, I see that has impacted a lot in the economy, because we learn about more businesses that are out there, like JCD, or is it JDC?
JZD, yeah.
JC, okay. And Bull. Like, I didn't know about Bull until I went to the venture cafe. I didn't know about shape cards until I went to the venture cafe. The venture cafes have really taught me more about all the kinds of entrepreneurship that you can have, and some that we have here in Bronxville, like 7th and Park. I didn't know it existed until the venture cafe. And also like the ERA program, because even post high school, EXF is there. So I feel like if you're here during high school, afterwards, and even before that, that just means you're influencing the community from its very roots. And I think that's amazing.
Going to your first point, sorry,
You're fine.
what I realize is a lot of kids, when they're young, they say, I want to become a firefighter, I want to become a doctor, I want to become a teacher. But what we should be wanting our kids to say is to say, I want to be having a huge impact on our community. I want to be impactful for the future. Because yes, it is good to look forward to an occupation, but that should not be where you're limited at. You should be wanting to make an impact. And that's what EXF strives to do. We make an impact not only in just aerospace, but in teaching us different, how to speak well, how to think for ourselves, really.
I love it, because expanding frontiers is literally expanding the frontiers.
Yeah.
And I think it's great. It lives up to its name. And something that I would like to see EXF do is maybe some cooking lessons with Chef Katie, because those are delicious.
Cool, actually.
Or Mr. Miller giving seminars, because he's such a great public speaker, and he has influenced us all in one way or another. Because of Mr. Miller, I was able to kind of accept myself more to who I am, and be more self-aware on how curious I actually am about learning, instead of bottling it up. So he has really allowed me to open the horizon for myself and go want to learn and do what I want to do, rather than just be like, oh, this is what I have to be, who I have to be, and why. But he allows me to think and dream of being able to make that impact and go chase that dream.
So I definitely think EXF has had a really good impact on our community right here. And I think I like to say that it's made the community more like closer, like it brings people together, because like I feel like the venture cafes, CISA, the internships, ERA, they're all really good ways for people to connect, start talking and meeting each other. And that's such a positive impact, because like it makes you feel closer to Brownsville. It makes you feel like, oh, this is like where I'm from and I want to stay here. And that sense of belonging would then help Brownsville grow even more than it's already growing. It would make it expand, and I really do think that we could be like the next like space town that's like super big. We could be like Houston big. That's how big
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
I would like to add on to that. I like how he mentioned that you're able to meet people from different places. For example, in the Venture Cafe, I met someone from New Jersey,
Oh wow.
and also in
Wow.
the Lunada in which you guys participate. And I also volunteered in one of them. I was able to meet people from New Jersey, from New York, one from Indiana, some from Oregon. Like there's people all around the world, and I have to say that Expanding Frontiers has played a big role on that because we've exposed the community to that. And like Rene said, by broadening our perspective and our horizons, we are closer to our roots. So I think I really love that effect that it has on us who were born and raised here and the people coming here. It creates a sense of community that's stronger than ever.
Okay, so something I would like to see EXF do more is like in CISA, I really liked going outdoors. I thought those activities were really fun. I remember one time where we took like a mirror and everything, and we projected the sun into a whiteboard, and we were
Oh
able to
yeah.
see. That was super cool, and also like like drawing out the Earth and the Moon, and then seeing like putting them to scale, like oh how far really is it, and like how deep is the atmosphere, like the crust. I thought it was really cool, and I just really like going outside. I think I would like to see more of that.
So you guys have had very insightful answers. I feel very inspired currently. But I hope you guys feel inspired as well. Go ahead and like and subscribe, and go ahead and share this with your friends or someone you think might like it. Follow us at Expanding Frontiers on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And thank you to our lovely guests for joining. We'll see you next time in the vault. Bye bye.